creatures in the story are toys. They're toys, but the woods are real. And the size is wrong. The bear should be smaller. Size of a little brother.
There.
Yes. Yes, that's it.
Blue, are we writing a book? I thought we were just having fun.
We're writing a book and we're having fun.
I didn't know you could do both at the same time. You don't usually look like you're having fun while you're writing.
So how did you get involved?
I was sent the script and my agent said Simon would really like you to look at the part of Olive, and so I read the script and I know Simon a little bit, and so I first off just wanted to work with him anyway, and then I read the script and it was just a part that I could definitely see myself playing and happily so.
What was it about the script that you really liked?
I thought, well, there's a lot of fans of Winnie the Pooh out there, so that is helpful. And also it was the unknown story behind those famous books that appealed to me. And then also it was about so much more than just that. It's a film about family, about creation, about the effects of war. And it just felt like it chimed very well with these times in which we now live.
And did you know anything about A.M. Milne before you picked up the script?
Next to nothing. I certainly didn't know that he was a famous playwright long before he wrote these stories, and I certainly didn't know the depth of the emotion in the family at the time the stories were written.
I didn't know the background to Winnie the Pooh. Obviously, I'd seen the Disney movies. I think everybody has, and I didn't know anything beyond that. So it was really interesting to find out that Christopher Robin was based on a real boy, and it was the author's son, and the huge impact the fame had on his young life.
And when it came to kind of finding your leading man, what was it what kind of process was that to get the right person?
Well, I've always loved Donal, and he brings such an intelligence and there's a complexity to all the parts he played. So I was very pleased that he liked the script as much as I did.
I mean, obviously it's a difficult role because it's him at various stages in his life, and
yes.
Pulling off looking your age is a difficult thing as well as
Yes,
kind of acting it.
It is. I mean, and actually, in some ways, they were playing characters like, I forget what it is now, but sort of 10, 15 years older than they actually are. That's in some ways harder than playing 40 years older than they actually are.
That was interesting for me. I've never had to age up in something before, and so I had to go through, I had to have prosthetics made, and so I got fake wrinkles all over my face, and so that was quite fun, and quite odd seeing photographs of yourself looking like you're going to look in 20 years.
It looked like quite a nice film to shoot in terms of all the locations, lovely big houses and the countryside. How was that? Was it a good shoot?
Yeah, I mean, they were all a bit further to drive to than I would have liked. But we were making a film about sort of an English idyll, and the locations were gorgeous. I mean, the woods and some of those houses, and such a joy to have Donal and Will as the Milnes playing Pooh Sticks on the actual Pooh Sticks bridge.
This is more than a few poems.
It's a little world. Like you said, 100-acre paradise.
Be very, very quiet.
Vespers. This one's for Daphne.
The success of the book at the time was quite phenomenal. I mean, but obviously it's very bittersweet. Was that important to reflect that in the film?
Well, yeah, but I think the most important thing was that no one could have predicted it. No kids had been celebrities before Christopher Robin, and so that was all a very new concept. So I feel sorry for the parents in a way because they didn't see it coming.
It must be kind of weird to compare it to modern phenomenon because this child suddenly becoming hugely famous, but I guess it does have a lot of parallels with what could happen in the modern world.
Oh yeah, I think it's sort of old news now that, I mean, everybody knows that extreme fame at a young age isn't necessarily going to end well. But at that point, there was nothing to compare it to apart from members of the royal family were as famous as it got, and Christopher Robin Milne was like a member of the royal family in his level of fame, and everybody knew who he was and what he looked like, and his mother had a very strong sense of how he should be dressed, so he was sort of recognised, because you'd think there wasn't the multimedia that we have now, and even like photographs really, but people knew the drawings from the stories, and they knew what he looked like from that, and they could tell if they were in a zoo at the same time as him, as you can see in the film.
What do you think people will take away from it in terms of what they don't know about Winnie the Pooh and how it all came together?
I think they'll take away that there was a particular family that's accidentally created this extraordinary work, and actually they were created at a time the family was at its happiest. The fact that the fame of the stories had a more negative effect on them is another thing. But what I really hope that audiences take from this film is that cherish your loved ones while they're around, because as the nanny in the film says, you never know what happens next.
Evening News will put Christopher on the front page.
Why does everyone like Winnie the Pooh so much?
After the war, there was so much sadness. Then Winnie the Pooh came along.
Shall we go to the woods?
I've got heaps of writing to do, I'm afraid.
He has to be allowed to grow up. He has to know he's important.
Radio interview, newspaper interview. He can't do all this.
He's rather good at it.
He's a little boy. Come on then.
Where to?
Home, I should think.